Sue federal government if minors are not given education. Release minors need mental health support. That's coming from experts. You can get more details of that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. This one here says again, national grid collapses 4 times in 24 days. Again, national grid collapses 4 times in 24 days. That story is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. U.S. presidential poll. Harris, Trump upbeat about chances in keen race. U.S. presidential poll. Harris, Trump upbeat about chances in keen race. Full details of that story is on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Why forfeited illicit arms pose security threats? That's coming from the National Security Advisor. Why forfeited illicit arm pose security threats? The NSA speaking there. You can get full details of that story on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Deregulation, not licensed to blend off-spec products. That's coming from Dangote telling Pinnacle Oil. You can get full details of that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Protesters storm National Assembly over hardship. Protesters storm National Assembly over hardship. Full details of the story is on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Why telecoms infrastructures must be protected. That's coming from NCC, NJI. Why telecoms infrastructure must be protected. NCC and NJI speaking there. Full details of the stories on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Still from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Federal government reverses 18-year admission benchmark in tertiary institutions. Federal government reverses 18-year admission benchmark in tertiary institutions. Full details of the story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tinubu decorates acting chief of army staffs Oluyede with new rank. Tinubu decorates acting chief of army staff Oluyede with new rank. You can get more details of that story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Let's see this one still from the Vanguard this morning saying Ondoguba Ajayi Flo Ayedatiwa in debates. Ondoguba Ajayi Flo Ayedatiwa in debate. That's coming from the PDP campaign council. Governor's performance excellent. APC2 is speaking there, saying the governor's performance during the debate was excellent. You can get more details of that story on page 35 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And lastly, from the sports corner here on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper saying Super Falcons to tackle France. France Lille Blees in friendly. You can get full details of that story on page 36 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Hope, what do you have with us again there?
Okay, over now to the Nigerian Tribune. The banner headline: Federal government reverses 18-year age limit for admission into tertiary institution. Minister hints on review of national education policy, warns tertiary governing council against floating extant rules. If you're interested in that story, you can check page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. FG moves to curtail negative net assets of 39 trillion naira to enforce compliance, sanction erring MDs. More fee to register all federal government assets. FG moves to curtail negative assets of 39 trillion naira. Fear of post-election unrest in United States as tension rise. Fear of post-election unrest in United States as tension rise. You can check page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. End bad governance protest. Court strikes at treason charges against minors. IGP orders probe into their welfare in detention. Why Tinubu ordered their release? That's according to Shetima. Falana advises president to enroll them in schools. If you're interested in that story, you can check page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune. Last man officer set ablaze in Lagos. Last man officer set ablaze in Lagos. Oyebanji appoints Justice Ogumoye as acting chief judge. Oyebanji appoints Justice Ogumoye as acting chief judge. For more details, please check page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. I am satisfied with my achievements in 8 years, says Obaseki. I am satisfied with my achievement in 8 years, says Obaseki. Tinubu promotes acting chief of army staff Oluyede to lieutenant general. Tinubu promotes acting chief of army staff Oluyede to lieutenant general. Why Tinubu economics policy more workable than Atiku, says Omokri. Why Tinubu's economic policy more workable than Atiku? That's Omokri talking there. And that's all we have from the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Okay, and that's all we have from the headlines this morning also. Very quickly, we'll be going to pay some bills now. And when we come back, we dive straight into the analysis of some of the stories that we have this morning. Do not go anywhere. Stay glued to your radio set because the program promises to be educative and interactive this morning. So, we'll be back after this short time out.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, made with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Break time is crunch time. So give your champs this delicious crunchy delight to keep them winning all day. Milo and a snack of future champions. Milo!
Hello?
Hello there. I'm at the hospital right now because the kills are seriously ill. I've been on a long queue and the doctor is here to attend to me. I don't know what to do again.
You know what? How about the numbers I gave you while leaving?
Oh, the e-Dokita numbers?
Yes.
Call them right away. They will attend to you immediately.
Hello?
Darling, just like magic. Junior is playing. Even Princess is eating like an adult.
You know I've told you to calm down. Our family is covered with e-Dokita Premium Plan. With eDokita, you have access to healthcare at your fingertips. Stop wasting your productive hours while waiting in the clinic for doctor. Subscribe today to any of eDokita plans and enjoy online chat and call consult, laser therapy, medical outreach, and home care services. Simply dial 0704 714 2000 or 0701 000 8670. Log on to www.edokita.com or visit us at eDokita, number 2 Ocean Street, New Bodija, Ibadan. eDokita, inspiring wellness.
Number portability. Yes, you can move your line from one network service provider to another without losing your number. When your network service provider is charging too much, or the quality of service from your network provider is not good, or has no service in your home or office area, the choice is yours as you can move to another operator. But before you move, ensure that you utilize all your credits. Good news is that as you move to a new operator, you will retain same number in your choice new network. Number portability is a service introduced by the Nigerian Communications Commission to offer more choices to the Nigerian telecom consumer. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Alright, you're welcome back. It's still Newslands right here on Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. Before we went on that break, we told you we'd be back to review some of the headlines that made it through to the Nigerian dailies this morning. And then we are set and ready to do justice to some of these headlines this time. This morning, I have with me in the studio Professor Wale Akinyemi. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Tayo. Good morning to our listeners.
Okay, let's start with this one, talking about federal government reversal of 18-year age limit for admission into tertiary institutions. The Nigerian Tribune has the banner headline here saying federal government reverses 18-year age limits for admission into tertiary institution. Minister hints on review of national education policy. One statutory governing council against floating extant rules. You can get full details of that story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And that's what we're checking this morning, Professor Wale Akinyemi. We've condemned, people have condemned, they've talked about the federal government's move by the former Minister of Education, who said the new entry age for entry into the Nigerian tertiary institutions will be 18 years old. Many people were against that at that point in time. But then it seems the federal government is turning back on that, and then yesterday it was announced by the new Minister of Education. Yesterday saying 16 years is the benchmark. What's your take on this?
Well, it's a positive development because even on this platform we condemned the idea that the bar was 18, and because we know that some students, especially very talented ones, are ready for university at the age of 16, and there is no reason why they should be marginalized, not given opportunity to. The worrisome thing about this development is that this policy somersault has a lot of political undertone. I've always suspected that policy was motivated by some primordial consideration. Certain part of the country thinking that some other part of the country needed to be slowed down education-wise. And what has happened has just confirmed it, because the former minister that was removed is from the other part of the country. The new minister that has said that this institution should go back to status quo is from the southern part of the country. It's unfortunate when we have this kind of development. I would have thought that even though a minister is supposed to be the chief executive of his ministry, before any policy will come out and will be discussed, I expect that it will have been debated in a very robust way at the Federal Executive Council. Not that things should be subjected to the whim and caprice of a particular minister. So that is the worrisome aspect of it. But it's a good thing that you have come back to what is right, and I salute the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It shows that they are also listening. Nigerians condemn this in its entirety, and it's good that government is giving this kind of thing a second thought. So it's a positive development.
Yeah, you made mention of it's giving our policies some kind of elaborate deliberation. People should be able to talk and then hear their opinions as regards this. But then it seems whoever is in power is the one that determines what happens in that in every sector in Nigeria as we speak. A former minister was there, and then he felt 18 years old would be better, and then he just said no going back on that. That's what we're going to do. But then the president did a cabinet reshuffle and then rearrangement. And then a new minister came in and said, no, going back to 16 years old. This is just not talking about the education sector alone. It's about the Nigerian thing. Policies have been made for Nigerians without the consent of Nigerians. Is it supposed to be, Prof?
It's not supposed to be. But let me tell you, most of these ministers read the body language of the president before they take some of their decisions. I can assure you, if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu were to be from the northern part of the country, that policy would have stayed.
Interesting one there. All right, let's move on to a not too good story this morning, talking about nationwide blackouts. This time, the power grid has collapsed again for the 10th time in 2024. The Punch report saying nationwide blackout as grid suffers 10th collapse in 2024. Generation drops to 0 megawatts. 22 gencos affected nationwide. Partial power in Southwest. Probably people, all of us in Southwest are probably lucky a bit because they say there's partial power here. But then the story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Still talking about that. Other newspapers too report that story, talking about a what's it called? The grid collapse this morning. Professor Wale Akinyemi, the 10th time in 2024 already. Many people are saying, many people have said it's vandalism that is causing all of this problem. But then many have the opinion that some of these, some of these equipments that we use in generating power, most of them are old. We need to change them. We need a total overhauling in that system. We need to bring some things down and replace them with new ones. What's your take on this?
Well, my take is there's a lot of sabotage in the system. We are talking about two types of grid now. The GR ID is the entire system, power system in Nigeria. It will keep on collapsing for as long as we have GREED, because it is the greed that is leading to the greed collapse. So it is human element. If you look at how much government is spending each time there is a greed collapse to resuscitate power again, you will see that some people can actually be interested in this continuous greed collapse. It is worrisome that you have 4 greed collapse in 24 days. It is worrisome. There is no way that couldn't have been. It couldn't have been technical. It has to be something to do with sabotage. It has something to do with vandalism, and it has something to do with people that are working in the system. And this is one of the things why I sympathize with the Minister of Power. This is what the minister that is working around the 24/7 to make sure that the story, there is a new narrative in that sector. But there are some people who just want this situation of inefficiency, of corruption to continue. It's unfortunate that most of this greed collapse is from the northern part of the country. I mean, look at the amount of money government have spent in resuscitating this thing, and it has collapsed again. And you can imagine what I'm saying. They are saying now that with partial power in the southwest. Why should that be so? I mean, if there is energy around the country, wouldn't it enhance and galvanize industrialization and other things in this country? You are talking about our collapsing economy. You are talking about the need for industrialization. You are talking about we need energy for so many other things. And some people are working every day very hard to make sure that these things cannot come to reality because of their patriotic attitude. It's most unfortunate.
Yeah, still coming to you, but then let us know that we are streaming live on Facebook this morning at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM, that's the handle on Facebook this morning. You can go watch us live and drop your comments on that page there. All right, still talking about greed. We've always been talking about some people deliberately sabotaging the efforts of government, but then it seems these people are stronger than the government, like I will always say. Or probably the government does not have the political will to take care or deal with these people. And then we're asking, should we continue like this? Are we going to continue like this? We are saying that we are doing the current administration is undergoing some major reforms, so to speak. And then if we still have saboteurs in government, saboteurs in the society, sabotaging the effort of the government, are we going to progress in any way? Are we going to develop in any way?
You see, I keep on saying that what we need is a kind of moral rearmament in Nigeria. We need national orientation, a reorientation. Our core values, the typical African core values of care, of compassion, of hard work, of resilience. Those are the things that should be driving us now, not this selfishness, not this greed, not everything for as long as you get power, I mean, you get money, you don't care how the source of the money. These are the things that are ruining our society. And that's why I keep on saying that the number of people that are waiting for change in Nigeria are more than the number of people that are ready to change. And until we have people that are ready to change in their individual capacity, things will not change. So the onus is not just on government alone, it is also on individual Nigerians. And that is why I keep on saying that whatever we do in our own individual capacity, in our own sphere of influence, is also very, very important. It's germane to the kind of thing we have at the national level. So this is an appeal to Nigerians. Let us change. If you want to change the narrative, let us change the way we do things.
Let us change the way we do things. But then, like we always say, it's about all of us. It's not just about some certain individuals alone. We need to get things right. Still talking about the issue of power. Billions of naira Nigerians will say have been spent on that sector. But then we are not getting the result, desired result that we want in that sector. At some point, we signed agreement with international firms, international companies to come fix the power in Nigeria. At some point, other points, a lot of cases were raised, a lot of things were raised as regards the issue of power in the country. But many are asking the question, why is it that we find it difficult to be transparent in our dealings, especially when it comes to issues like this?
It's because we are a religious country. We are not spiritual people. The mosque will be filled, the churches will be filled, there will be night vigil and morning vigil and all of those things. And all these things does not translate to people behaving very well, behaving in a civil way, behaving, you need to see what people do in their different levels of influence. The way we do know, everybody's out there to do a fast one, to cut corner, to cheat the neighbor and the rest of it. And these things are small deluge. Small trickles that forms a deluge of corruption, bringing down our nation. And that's why I'm saying that nobody is coming to come and change Nigeria for us. It is Nigerians themselves that must change. And one of the first things we must do is that this perception that it's important for you to get money, how you get it is not important. It's one of the things that has brought us to where we are now. Because all of this corruption is predicated on wanting to get money fast. Whatever you need to do to make sure that money is available, that is what we are doing. And as you are doing these things, don't forget that you are ruining the nation more and more. And that is where we are, the level where we are now. It's most unfortunate we have found ourselves at this level. Maybe we will come to it later on. Can you imagine that as federal government is working assiduously to make sure that they bring down this insecurity thing? We are here in Sokoto. Somebody is saying that another terrorist group is springing up. It is because this thing is lucrative. That is why some people will continue to sponsor it. And make no mistake about it, all these terrorists, they are not demons, they are not they are not spirits. They live with our people, they go to the same mosque with us, they attend the same churches with us. So if we cannot deal with these people, then how can we not expect a phantom government to deal with them?
Interesting one there. All right, let's move on this morning. The president yesterday ordered the release of minors, the End Bad Governance protesters, yesterday. And then yesterday they were released, they were freed, and then they had a reception at the State House yesterday. And then someone is speaking, that's the person of the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, saying the End Bad Governance protest cost Nigeria 300 billion naira. He said this to the hungry minors. That's according to Punch newspaper this morning. Over 300 billion naira lost in protests. Shettima tells the released hungry minors. And then let's start from the federal government, the President Tinubu's order yesterday, when he ordered that those minors, those protesters should be released. It seems many would say, like the Vice President also stated yesterday, they were released based on humanitarian issue, based on the compassion they have for them. And many would say, this government is not totally wicked. They are not even wicked at all. They know the plight of Nigeria, can feel the pulse of Nigerians, and that's why probably the president has taken that step of releasing these End Bad Governance protesters in the first instance. Many will say this is a welcome development. Probably the government is listening to the people. Professor Wale Akinyemi, what's your take on that?
I think the decision of Mr. President to release those minors is a well-informed decision. Our president has demonstrated high level of emotional intelligence in releasing those people, because prosecuting them will have done a lot of damage to not just the government, but even to the image of Nigeria, because some international organizations are already interested, even in the case of the boys, not to talk of people that are in Nigeria. So it's a good development that President has released them on compassionate ground. But let me sound a note of warning here. So people should not think that because they have released these ones, they also can continue to behave with impunity and commit crime and everything. The law of the country is still there, and the security operatives still have the responsibility to make sure that there is no breakdown of law and order. What I just expect government to do further is to galvanize the security operatives to go behind the scene and flush out the people that are behind these boys. There are some people, you need to look at some of those boys. They look so uncultured, so malnourished, and the rest of it, uneducated and everything. Definitely some people will have used them as tools. Those are the people that government should go after, because if they don't go after them, these same people will still do the same thing. And it's unfortunate that Vice President can only situate all of these things in terms of the amount of money that government has lost. That is the problem we have in this country. We always situate everything in terms of money. These boys, 300 billion, 500 billion, whatever, it does not mean anything to them. What they want is quality living, improved condition of living. That is what is important to them. Some of them have never even seen maybe 50,000 naira to go. And let me tell you, these boys, police were able to capture them and catch them, and the baby put them in incarceration and the rest of it because they were not harmed. If they have been recruited by Boko Haram, for example, and given harms, it's a different story we'll be talking about. So that is why government must take a holistic look at some of these problems of youth, things that are marginalizing the youths, things that are forcing Nigerian youth to go criminal. Government should address these things fundamentally, and it is the issue of poverty. It is the issue of the low quality of life that people are living. Some of majority of our Nigerian youths, let's be honest, the truth be told, they do not have hope because it will appear as if our leaders are not. They are just mouthing it. They say that the leaders are the future of the country, but that future is not here now. The young ones are looking at it and they're still in a very, very bleak future. It's most unfortunate.
Interesting one there. Talking about the issue of security, you made mention of some new Boko Haram group resurfacing in some part of the northern country. And then one will ask the question, the federal government is not, if not the federal government, if the government is not taking care of the youthful population, check out these minors. One would have expected that they probably would have been in school. And someone is speaking again this morning, that is in person of Femi Falana, is saying he's going to sue the federal government if some required things are not done, like taking them to school, sending them to school, and then catering for their welfare. He's saying he will sue the federal government. Many Nigerians are saying, beyond releasing these boys, also, let's do the needful, let's rehabilitate them, let's send them to school, let them be educated, give them proper life, like you said. But then it seems it's a norm, especially up north, when we just see children roaming the streets without being attended to, and this eventually will lead to some kind of insecurity, because it is these little boys. If you check it very well, check the suicide bombers, they are just innocent young Nigerians, and these people are those who will recruit them will recruit. Prof, what's your take on this?
Let the truth be told. The problem of the North is strictly religious. Religion, created problems. If you have lived in the North before, you will know that they take better care of their young girls, their girls, than the boys. The boys are just left to roam about. Some of them, instead of sending those children to school, they send them to some religious leaders. They say they want to go and learn Islamic studies and all of that. And they use some of these boys to beg. So these young boys at a very, very tender age, they are on the street begging as Almajiri. Almajiri is not supposed to be something derogatory. The word Almajiri is supposed to be student. That is the meaning of the word. But in Nigeria here, it has taken a new look to connote a beggars, to connote poverty, to connote abject penury and all of that. So, and it's unfortunate that they know that all of these things have been perpetrated under the guise of religion. So the traditional rulers are aware of it. The political leaders in the North are aware of it. They cannot pretend that they do. They are not aware of some of these things. And if you look at the girls, these girls at the very, very tender age, 12, 13 or something, they are already wedded out. So they don't give them the opportunity for education. The few people that give their children quality education in the North, they are the children of the elites in the North. And you find out that it is also within themselves that they marry. Because the typical northerner will not marry a woman that has gone to a higher institution. They believe that formal education is poison. And that is why I spoke about orientation, that's precisely what we need. Because let me tell you, it's one thing for you, somebody can compel government to send these children to school. If the children are not willing to go to school, we have seen a situation. There was a minister in this country that came up with the idea that there should be Almajiri education and special education for cattle herders and the rest of it. And billions of naira went to that scheme, but the people that they designed this program for were not interested in it. So all that money went down the drain. So let us start with the people. Let us start with changing the mindset of people, the people's values and lifestyle. Those are the problems. Those are the areas that we really need to address critically before we begin to heap this problem on parents. It's like some people, you send your children to school and the children goes to school to misbehave, and then you come back, you are blaming the teachers. When you are supposed to create the foundation, moral foundation, that your child should go and reflect in school. It's not supposed to be the responsibility of teachers, but the responsibility of parents. So some of these things are also supposed to be the responsibility of parents. Family values. It's not. We can't continue to be pushing all of these things to the government to say that it's government that will be doing all of these things. So the issue of orientation, the issue of morality, the issue of giving our children the right value, it must start from the home.
Interesting one there. It must start from the home. We can't just fold our hands and then just continue to look without doing the needful at this time, because it's not getting funny any longer, because the issue of insecurity is even it has gone beyond the north. It's spreading down south, and then many are saying, shouldn't we take care of the future? Because as it is now, it's a ticking bomb and might explode anytime soon. In fact, some of them are exploding already. Okay, let's talk about this before we go on the break, on a short commercial break this morning. Talking about the U.S. election, the whole world is looking. The U.S. is on the podium as we speak. Everyone wants to know what's happening, exactly what's happening in the United States of America. And then we have some headline here on the front page of the Nigerian dailies this morning. The Vanguard newspaper says U.S. presidential poll, Harris-Trump upbeat about chances in keen race. That story is on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Then we have this one. Fear of post-election unrest in the United States as tensions rise. Before now, we used to, I think the U.S. Just have your election and then you concede you accept defeat if you have been defeated, and then the winner goes home and be happy. But then it seems the narrative is changing already, because there's some likelihood of unrest in the United States as we speak, because it seems it's so competitive, and then both sides are so keen to making sure that they secure victory. Professor Wole Akinyemi, how was your take on this?
Human beings are basically the same. That's why we have the rule of law. It is the rule of law that tries to discipline some animalistic tendencies in humans generally. You will see that the first coming of President Trump, this was a sitting president that actually instilled protest. So people actually went to their National Assembly, as it were, to flush out the people there. So he at that level, he used his office in a very, very terrible way, and he suffered the consequence. After office, they have been prosecuting him, and but the way this thing works is that they have demonized him, and because of that, he's getting some sympathy votes. So if it were to be another candidate that is facing Kamala Harris, maybe detention will not have been as serious as this. What the people that are following Trump, they are people that are very, very passionate. They are people that are very, very passionate on racial issues, on economic issues, on security issues. Unfortunately, America is standing at a threshold of history, because what is happening in the Middle East, whether you like it or not, will affect the people of America. It will affect the economy of America. It will affect the security of America. I'm talking specifically about the relationship between Iran and Israel. So Americans believe that they need a strong presidency that will be able to mitigate that threat. They don't feel that the Democratic candidate, Kamala Harris, will be able to deal with that. That is the reality of the situation on the ground. And that is one thing you must know. The other thing you must know again is that America, because it's a two-party thing, if you have looked at their history, after they have a Democratic presidency for some time, the tendency for them to say, okay, let us try Republican. After Republican, okay, let us try Democratic. They believe that from the performance of Biden, maybe because of age and because of some other reasons, or because of situations around the world globally, they believe that maybe Trump, if he were to be in position, would probably have performed better. Because don't forget that they are always thinking about America. They are not thinking about outside America. What is in need for us? That's the first question. Their diplomacy is about what is in need for us, not because of any other thing. And they are believing that if you go and look at the demography of America right now, you find that you cannot say that America is a white nation again. Nations from a different part of the world are coming in, and they are changing the narrative.
Prof, people have asked the question, who are the real owners of America?
The real owners of America are Red Indians. These are the people that owned America initially, and from the names of so many states and streets and towns in America, you will see that they have Indian origin. Names like Wyoming and the Tennessee and all of those names they are for Indian origin. But over time, because of the flexibility of America, their capacity to accommodate and their capacity to build a nation that is be unifying, America is a nation for everybody in the world right now.
Because as we speak now, these are part of the determinants of who gets the vote in America.
That is the thing. And because of this, the people that believe that they are the original owners of America, that is the white, the first people that came there, then they sacked the Indians. Kind of. They are thinking that, no, we are losing initiative. And they believe that the person that can drive that racial thing is Trump. And that's why some of them, unfortunately, the people that are backing Trump are people with money. I know Elon Musk is one of the richest man in the world. He's one of his greatest supporters, and so many other people like that. And don't forget that majority of the people that sell arms, that manufacture arms, that sell arms, the warmongers, if I can call it, they are in the Republican Party. So these people are ready to have a president who is ready to go and wage war in the Middle East so that they can sell their arsenal.
Interesting one there. But many people will argue and say even the major contestants are not Americans, if you check it very well. Go down history and you see probably some Sergeant Kamala Harris originates from India, and Donald Trump probably from other parts of the world.
He came from Europe, yes. I think Irish. He has some Irish blood.
But then, it's like they always say, many Americans do not want to know, but then many people would say America is a no man's land, but then some Americans will say it's our land. We need to pay some bills at this time, and when we come back, we'll pick your calls and probably read your comments on Facebook. Go drop your comment on Facebook this morning. Newslands will be back after this short timeout.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
I will show you. Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 Naira, while Super Pack is now 350 Naira. So hurry now. Offer valid till stock lasts.
Number portability. Yes, you can move your line from one network service provider to another without losing your number. When your network service provider is charging too much, or the quality of service from your network provider is not good, or has no service in your home or office area, the choice is yours as you can move to another operator. But before you move, ensure that you utilize all your credits. Good news is that as you move to a new operator, you will retain same number in your choice new network. Number portability is a service introduced by the Nigerian Communications Commission to offer more choices to the Nigerian telecom consumer. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
When it's bright and early, get your breakfast right. You need all the nutrients that will hold you tight, baby. Stay in power, you find it all in Peak, baby. Every move you make, Peak's got you all the way, baby. And the beat goes on.
Power on every morning with a Peak protein breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak, reach for your peak.
Cholera is a deadly disease that spreads through contaminated water and poor hygiene. Say no to germs with Hypo. Disinfect your home and drainages with Hypo bleach. Wash hands frequently. Stop open defecation. Wash your toilets with Hypo toilet cleaner. Together, we can prevent the spread of cholera.
The voice of integrity, omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
You're welcome back. It's the Newslands right here on Omoluwabi Radio. It is 7.7 FM. You too can join the conversation at this point. Call the studio lines to be a part of the program. 07047 007999. 07047 Can also call us on 08053888933. 08053888933. Those are the studio lines to call to be a part of the conversation this morning. Let's hear from you. What are your takes? What are your opinions as part of the things we've discussed on the show this morning? You can call the studio line 07047 007999. 07047 007999. Can also call 08053888933. 08053888933. Those are the lines to call to be a part of the program this morning. Let's talk about this. Coming from the Chief Justice of Nigeria, lamenting rising vulnerability of Nigerians, firms to cyber attacks. CJN laments rising vulnerability of Nigerians, firms to cyber attacks. That story, full details of that story is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. We've always been talking about this. You just see some people trying to hack your own, probably your social media account, or just get some messages or some spam messages that are not shouldn't come to your phone anyhow. But then at some point the federal government said they decided that we're going to be raising some kind of levy charges from bank accounts. They call it the cyber security charges. But then it seems it's not getting better because many people still complain of money missing from their accounts. Professor Wale Akiyemi, what's your take on this?
Cyber attack is a global phenomenon. It's a problem, it's an international one. Don't forget that what we have now is we are living in the knowledge age, and the bulk of that knowledge really is in ICT. If you have book knowledge and you are an illiterate in ICT, as well as you might as well be an absolute illiterate. So that's the reality, and the problem is not going to go away because the future is going to be more he-driven. And the more we are into e-banking, e-business, all of this, the more you are going to have problems of hacking. You can imagine if a future where people are using robots and we have so many of them in China now, and then somebody hacks your robot, maybe, and it turns violent. These are possibilities. I see a future in which probably the work culture will change entirely. Over 60% of repetitive jobs will be done by robots. And if these things are happening, I see a situation in which some people will just rise up and decide to sabotage these robots so that they can get their job back. These are possibilities. So I think the only way is to make sure that as people are having this ICT education, that the issue of morality is not thrown overboard. Because what really happens is very, very intelligent people that do cyber crime. It's not for the fools. These are people that are extremely intelligent. The only thing is that they are misguided. Instead of using their education in a productive way, they decided to use it in a destructive way.
Interesting one there. Unfortunately, we won't be able to move on this morning. We won't be able to pick any call again because our time is well spent already. We sincerely want to appreciate everyone for being a part of the program this morning. For those who joined us live on Facebook and those who listened via radio, a big thank you to you for being a part of the program. Tomorrow is another time for us to join us on Newslands right here on Omoluwabi, the 7.7 FM. 7 a.m. is the time on this dial. I'll be giving room for Jonathan Ibileke to come take us into the world of sport on the program Sports Rips, so after which Kakakiro will be coming on board to give us some news in Yoruba in our own mother language here in Ibadan. So just take a look to your radio set and then enjoy great content coming your way from this end. Professor Wole Akinyemi, thank you very much for being a part of the show this morning.
It's always mine.
Upsado, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Do have a lovely day ahead.
All right, everyone, do have a lovely day ahead. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Oluwatayo Ajiwole. Bye-bye.